All right, let's get right into it. Today we are digging into a fascinating document, something called the Scientific Indictment. And it puts forward a pretty wild idea that there is a silent, ancient war being waged against all of us, and the weapon of choice? It's frequency.
So, right out of the gate, the authors hit you with this. They're not trying to be subtle. They're framing this whole thing not as just some theory, but as an engineering manual for a war that most people don't even know is happening. Talk about setting the stakes high from page 1.
And really, it all boils down to this one big question. The document argues that all the static in our lives, the stress, the anxiety, the constant distractions, it's not an accident. It's a broadcast. It's manufactured chaos, and it's designed to keep us disconnected.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of this attack. The document has a name for it, Archonic Decoherence, and it's framed as the main strategy in what they call a Gnostic War, a fight for the very essence of our consciousness. Now that word, decoherence, is key. In physics, it's basically when a system loses its order and gets chaotic. Well, according to this document, that's being used as a weapon. The whole goal is decoherence, to shatter our internal harmony and collapse our potential into a state of noise that's easy to control.
And you can really see the two sides of this conflict laid out here. On one side, you've got what the document calls the guardian force, which is all about coherence, order, and life itself. And on the other side, the archonic force, pushing for decoherence, noise, chaos, and ultimately control. This is presented as the fundamental struggle that's shaping our entire reality.
And listen, this isn't just some abstract spiritual battle. The document says this archonic force creates decoherence with real-world tools. We're talking about the electromagnetic smog from all our devices, the constant stream of fear and division from the media, and even the chemicals in our food and water. They're all seen as ways to jam our signal and keep us stuck in a low-energy state. But look, if there's an attack, there's got to be a defense, right? And this is where the document really shifts gears. It goes from the problem to the solution, and it reframes the human body, not as some weak, fragile machine, but as an incredibly powerful piece of hardware. It's our shield.
It all starts with the heart. We're told the archonic lie is that the heart is just a simple pump, pushing blood around. But the Gnostic truth, according to this source, is way more amazing. It's a vortex engine. It doesn't push, it twists the blood, creating this powerful silent vortex. It's described as a masterpiece of guardian engineering.
Next up in our hardware review is the vagus nerve. Now, this isn't just the longest nerve in your body. The document claims it's the physical data cable for your consciousness, the highway that links the heart and gut to the brain. It's basically the real-world version of the mythical silver cord.
And finally, the hardware goes all the way down to our source code, our DNA. The document argues that DNA isn't just a fixed blueprint. It says that its double helix shape makes it a perfect little antenna, designed to receive information from a universal field and broadcast our own signal back out into the world.
So we have this amazing hardware, the heart engine, the vagus nerve cable, and the DNA antenna. But how is it all supposed to work together? Well, this next part is all about the operating system, the science of coherence, and how our hardware is designed to sync up perfectly with the planet itself.
According to the document, this entire biological system is tuned to one single critical frequency, a master signal that synchronizes everything. And that number is 7.83 Hz.
Now, this isn't some made-up, mystical number. It's a real, measurable thing called the Schumann Resonance. It's literally the planet's electromagnetic heartbeat. It's generated by all the lightning constantly striking around the globe, which makes the space between the Earth's surface and the ionosphere ring like a bell at exactly 7.83 Hz.
And here is the crucial point the document makes. Our divine hardware isn't just kind of affected by this frequency. No, it claims our entire biology, from our brain waves to our heart rhythms, evolved inside this planetary tuning fork. We are literally biological radios built to receive this one specific station.
To back this up, the source points to a few things. It mentions studies from the HeartMath Institute that show our nervous systems actually sync up with the Earth's magnetic field, and that this effect gets stronger when we feel positive emotions. It also talks about how early astronauts got sick when they were shielded from this 7.83 Hz signal. And get this, it even cites a recent study that supposedly found vagus nerve activity locks onto 7.83 Hz during out-of-body experiences.
So, if we're being hit with all this noise, all these decoherent frequencies, how do we fight back? This is where we get to the practical part, what the document calls the operator's toolkit.
a set of simple methods for building our own internal coherence.
The key metric here, the way you measure your progress, is something called vagal tone. It's a real medical term for the health of your vagus nerve. The document says it's simple. High vagal tone equals high coherence. If you want to build your energetic shield against all the noise, you've got to strengthen this nerve.
So how do you do it? The document lays out 3 really simple techniques. First, cold exposure, like a quick cold shower. It triggers this ancient reflex that basically gives your nervous system a hard reboot. Second, slow, rhythmic breathing. It's a direct signal to your body that you're safe. And third, humming or chanting. The vibration physically stimulates the vagus nerve right where it passes through your throat and chest.
And this isn't just theory. They point to some pretty incredible data to show the impact. The document cites a meta-analysis showing that after just 4 weeks of daily cold showers, people saw, on average, a nearly 30% increase in vagal tone and a 35% drop in systemic inflammation. The document basically calls this a direct, measurable hardware upgrade.
And all of this leads to a really powerful way of looking at self-care. The document argues that taking control of your own nervous system, of your own internal state, well, it's not a selfish act. In the context of this Gnostic War, it's the single most powerful act of rebellion you can perform.
So why is it an act of war? Because the end goal here is to achieve what it calls energetic sovereignty. The idea is that these so-called Archons literally feed on the low-frequency energy of fear and anger and anxiety. So by building your own personal coherence, you just stop making their food. You take yourself right off their grid.
Which brings us to the final, really provocative question this material leaves us with. In this whole war of frequency, are you a battery, just passively powering a system that feeds on your chaos? Or are you a lighthouse, a beacon of coherence, actively broadcasting your own clear, stable signal out into the world? The choice, this document insists, is yours.